Next up on the show is Steve from Portland, Oregon.
So the question I have is, sales professionals nowadays, we live in this age of information. So how do we adjust selling in this age of information where, years and years ago, the sales professional had the information that the customer didn't?
It's a great question. Let me just dial into it. Tell me where this question's coming from in your world.
I mean, I exist in a digital marketing space where it seems like everybody knows how to market. Where in reality, if you are a professional, you should know more than your end customer or potential end customer. How do you really go after that when there's a dynamic that they believe they have more information than you do? And possibly there's maybe even a lack of trust in what you bring to the table.
Okay, great question. So let's start with your space, digital marketing. There's so much noise in the system. Right now, as we're speaking, there's probably 1,000 people who have decided to hang out their shingle, and I'm building a digital marketing agency. And they have no idea what they're doing, but they've saw something on Instagram that you can have a $5 million agency overnight. And there's an entire industry that is bringing these people on and selling them things to tell them how to be digital marketers. So by the time you get to a CEO like me that's running a small company, I'm going to go out and educate myself about this. And so I go watch videos and read things. And then you're having a conversation with me and I'm going, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And
Yeah.
I think with it's that idea of consultative selling
Yeah.
nowadays, where it seems like that's the approach you need to take rather than, hey, I know more than you.
Perfect. Now, what is consultative selling in your mind?
I think sales can be summed down to this. Do you have a problem? Can I solve it? And can you pay for it? Like if those are the
Okay.
three dynamics that I bring to the table, then I think that makes selling simple because ultimately, if you have a problem as an end user, I want to be able to come in and help solve that. But consultative selling is coming alongside a customer and really overcoming that, hey, you're a sleazeball because you're a sales.
Right. So what do consultants do?
I mean, they have to come in and understand the lay of the land. They have to come in and really understand the industry. They have to come in and ask a whole bunch of questions around maybe what the process is currently like so that the consultant can bring maybe a third eye perspective to say, hey, as an outsider, here's what I see.
If I back up and think about my practice as a consulting company, so Sales Gravy, we're a training and consulting organization, and we work in consulting for companies who want to grow with the revenue, or they want to solve a sales compensation problem, or they're looking to build playbooks, or they want to change how they go to market. They're all these businesses are different. There's a lot of patterns that we see. I think probably one of the greatest traits of a consultant is the ability to recognize patterns when you see them, even if they're in different industries, different places. When we go in to spend time with these businesses and we're doing exactly what you said, our first move is we're assessing and analyzing. Then we begin to design or develop solutions. Then we begin to integrate those solutions into their world. As we spend more time with them, we begin to optimize what we've brought them so that it works. And then we operationalize it to make sure that it sticks over the long haul. That's a system or a methodology that we run in those situations. But everything begins with the analysis and assessment part. And most of that is exactly what you said. We're just asking these big, broad, open questions. We're being curious about how they do things and why they do things. But if we break down what the consultant actually does, at the end of the day, is we make them aware of problems that they have or the reasons they've got these problems, really the root cause of those problems, and they already know it. There's a saying about consultants that, a consultant's job is to tell you what time your watch says. And there's a lot of times
Mhm.
when I'm sitting in a room when I'm thinking, this is so freaking obvious that they've got this problem. If I tell them, they won't believe me. But if I can get them to say they have the problem, they will believe me. I can tell them a story of another business who had a similar pattern and what they did to fix it. Now, suddenly, we've got social proof in there. And the thing about being a consultant, like you said, the money piece is important. I get that. And as a consultant, I'm getting paid before I'm walking through the door. So I understand those issues. But as a consultant, you have to detach yourself from the outcome. And this is how you move into consultative selling without doing that cheesy sleazeball stuff or saying things that make people feel that you're cheesy or sleazeball. And you got to recognize that in those conversations, they're bringing all the baggage, all the experience of every sales conversation they've ever had, and they're comparing you to that. You're in an industry that nobody trusts, that everybody thinks is a bunch of witch doctors selling stuff. I've fired three agencies because they absolutely sucked at what they were doing. And I've talked to other business owners. Everybody's had that experience. I know you've run into it. Like, how are you going to be different? Well, how you're different is you detach from the outcome. I don't have to close this deal. I don't have to win this thing. My job here is to understand, is to listen. That's not going to solve the problem of breaking through and getting them to let you ask the questions in the first place. That's a prospecting, getting past the objections of time. But once you're in there, my job is to learn about you and your business. Because here's the thing, what I do might not be a fit for you. You might already be doing things really, really well that are great, and I can complement what you're doing and making it better. But I need to understand those things first. And that's how you begin to go into asking questions. The answer isn't, I know everything. The answer is that I can ask the right questions that get them to be aware that they don't know everything. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I'm a deal closer. What do you mean detach from the outcome? The outcome is to close the deal. I hear you. Like, we're there to close the deal. We're there to get the money. I get that. And what I mean by this is that I'm not walking through the door transactional. I'm not walking through the door thinking I have to win a deal. I'm walking through the door thinking I need to figure out whether or not I can help this customer. Even if I walk away and I can't help them, I'm going to leave them better off because I was there than if I hadn't been there. And that to me relieves all the pressure. Even in the parking lot, when I'm out calling on people, I walk in, I'm going, I don't even know. I don't know if I can help you or not, but let's talk. And it's funny because as soon as you let that go and you stop chasing, they lean in. So I think that would be number one. Now, number two is if you're in your space, that you are an expert on your space, that you are learning, that you're curious. Your world is changing all the time. I had this conversation with my own marketing team. Like, there's science in what you do. And the people that are really freaking good at it, they understand it at a level that most people don't. I've got all this information. I don't have to let people know I'm the smartest person in the room. But because I have that information, I'm able to ask the right questions around it. If you don't know what you don't know, your questions will be like surface-based questions. If you are an expert in what you're doing, and not just an expert yesterday, you're an expert every day because you're keeping up with the things that are changing. When someone comes to you and says, hey, I saw this on YouTube or I read this on LinkedIn, you're able to go, that's something that's emerging. We don't really know where we are right now. This is something that is happening. Here's what we do know. That to me is like, that's the heart of it, Steve. You're an expert and you're always curious. You're an expert at business as well. So understanding how small businesses work, how medium businesses work, how large businesses work, all of the trends that drive them. You have the ability to say and be comfortable in the shoes of, I'm a consultant. I show up, I ask questions, I help people, and I'm willing to walk away if I can't help them. My only outcome is to create awareness that there's a problem. If I can build enough trust where we cross over that trusted advisor threshold, only then am I going to think about the money.
I appreciate it, Jed. Cheers.
Thanks,
Have a good day, man.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to click like and subscribe so you never miss a single video. And if you want more sales training content, go to learn.salesgravy.com.